So, welcome back to this series. Yeah, you'll notice I still pretty much filled up the board. Took my notes tonight. And tonight's series shows this is going to be a long series. This is absolutely going to be a long series. And I'm kind of glad for it. And I want to say what else I'm glad for, too. Back in 2013, I watched as James Reimer got absolutely raked over the coals after the Boston Bruins came back and defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs. I didn't think that was fair. I thought there were other players on the Leafs that were responsible for that big comeback. And seeing Reimer against the Bruins tonight, I thought, well, it honestly would be kind of nice to see a redemption here, at least in this game. Now, whether or not this goes on for the series, we'll see. Rod Brind'Amour showed today that he is not afraid to shake everything up and say, you know what, that didn't work in the double overtime game, we're going to change it. Pastrnak was unfit to play. That absolutely affected the Bruins tonight. That did. Pastrnak had 48 goals during the regular season. Him not being in the lineup made a difference. Not as an excuse, but it does make a difference. It'd be like if Svechnikov or Aho were not in the lineup for the Carolina Hurricanes. Williams was in as well, so Williams comes back, and Bjork was moved up to that top line. Coyle was on that top line at points, and as much as I like Bjork and Coyle, neither of them are going to be Pastrnak, right? So the Canes changed up the lines quite a bit. They broke Svechnikov away from Aho, and I'm not sure if that's because Brind'Amour didn't like how they played during Game 1, or if it was to mess up the matchups for Boston, so that they couldn't just match up against the Aho-Svechnikov line. They had to match up against two different lines that had those players on them. Van Riemsdyk had a shot that bounced in front of the net off of Rask's shoulder that looked kind of dangerous early. So the Canes was kind of an interesting chance early there. Lots of action, no whistles. The shots were 2-1 for the Canes at 6.5 minutes, so it felt like they were in a hurry to get this game over with. And it was a fun game. Shots were 4-2 for the Canes at the half. I thought the Bruins were being outplayed to that stage of the game. I thought Carolina was the better team. Things got kind of physical at 12 minutes. Lauzon takes a penalty. The Canes go to the power play. These teams don't get along. They don't like each other. They remember last year. And I think for Carolina, I think the sweep they suffered at the hands of Boston, I think they've taken that to heart. And I think they wanted to prove that they were better than last year's team, and that, it may be also their way of proving last year, just everything went against them. Rask looked good as the penalty kill came through. I'll come back to that. Shea takes a penalty. Shea gets penalty. Bruins are 0 for 13 on the power play. Stahl was without a stick. And so that makes it 5 on 3.5. So I always say kind of like a 5 on 3.5, because when a player's without a stick, it messes up the whole penalty kill. It's actually easier if it's 5 on 3 than 3.5, because your plan changes. Now you get a guy out there without a stick, and there's a clear weakness on the ice. And Krejci gets the goal from Marchand and Krug at 15:41, so it's 1-0 Bruins. The Bruins then pushed for more after what had been a pretty good start and a pretty good first period for Carolina. So a period that at least should have been even. It's 1-0 Boston after one. Second period, the Krejci line got things started early. Krejci looked pretty darn good tonight. He did. Krejci, good player. Rask, I thought, looked sound in the second period. The Canes were up 5-2 in shots at the 6-minute mark. The Canes were shuffling the lines during the game. Again, Brind'Amour trying to throw the Bruins off and trying to find that right mix to get things going on his side. Chara didn't like a Svechnikov hit on McAvoy, and it was a hit into the boards, and it was a hit directly into the numbers, and we end up coming out of that with a 4-on-4. There was no penalty on Svechnikov on the play. Moving along. Evenly played first half as the teams continued to dislike one another and make it clear they would not be on each other's Christmas lists. Stahl was winning the draws in their own hands, so Jordan Stahl is fantastic on faceoffs in his own zone. It showed throughout this game. Carlo had a heavy shot that was deflected out by Reimer. And Reimer just looked really good. And I'm not sure what it is with Carolina. You get Mrazek, you get Reimer, got goalies who've been cast off from other organizations. And at some point, when games aren't all day, I'll be able to do a video on this. There are some teams that are very good at reclaiming goaltenders that are cast off from other organizations, and Carolina's one of them. Arizona, I see you, and Minnesota's had that as well. Keep in mind, Stalock was, jettisoned from numerous organizations. So that shot deflected out by Reimer. Kane's pressure caused a Bruins penalty. Wagner goes off. Wagner hits him with his shoulder. They called it elbowing. All right. And Teravainen gets the goal from Svechnikov and Aho at 15:03. And that's where momentum really shifted quickly. A minute and 38 seconds later, Svechnikov gets a goal from Necas and Van Riemsdyk. And it's 2-1 in favor of Carolina. Then there's a puck goes off the glass. Rask tried to clear it, went right off the glass to Van Riemsdyk. That was on the Svechnikov goal, and Rask looked kind of shaky. This is where Bruin fans like to immediately pile on Rask. And it's something I have seen for a long time, and I've never understood it. So Tuukka Rask is a goaltender that a lot of fans would like to see in their city, I would think, right? You'd say, if I could trade the guy we have for Rask, I'd probably do it. Now, at this stage, he might be getting a bit older. That may not be the case. But my God, Bruins fans are impossible when it comes to Tuukka Rask. I know I've defended Freddie Anderson against some Leaf fans, but that's nothing compared to what I see with Rask from Bruin fans. I am stunned, honestly, at the amount of ridicule that a goaltender gets who just gets nominated for Vezinas here and there and once in a while wins one. It's bizarre, and yet, here we are. And yeah, again, I thought he looked shaky, but I didn't think he looked that bad. And honestly, I think he's had the whole Bruins team has looked kind of poor since the return, and hopefully tonight is a bit of a wake-up call for them, because you could argue they kind of got away with some rather shoddy plays in the last game that I would say Rask kind of bailed them out on, but that's one of those things, right? So Teravainen takes a penalty on Krug. The Bruins get a power play. Reimer stopped a Krejci slapper. And then 5 seconds left, it's Marchand gets a goal from Bergeron and Krejci on the power play. So lethal power play for the Boston Bruins tonight. So we go to the third period. The Bruins had a buzz in the first minute, and then the puck goes the other way. Trocheck was denied by Rask. That horrible, awful goaltender. The Canes get a chance to tip off the side of the goal. Post then for Aho. So Sebastian Aho close on that one. Puck goes in, but it's waved off right away for goalie interference. Brindamore's looking down, and I'm seriously saying out loud to the TV, don't do it. It's goalie interference. It's not a penalty, but it's goalie interference. It's not a goal. Please don't challenge. For the sake of my review, for the sake of my sanity, don't. Oh my God, he challenged. So Brindamore challenges, because this is now the world we live in, and it went against him, which means a penalty kill now for Carolina for delay of game. Boston does not score. So might have wiped some sweat off my brow on that one, which sounds weird to me too. So that ends up happening where you could tell Brindamore wasn't happy. He thought about it, whether I was going to challenge. And again, I don't think there was enough evidence there to overturn it. Keep in mind, when the call on the ice is one way, you have to have clear evidence to overturn. Last night's, was there? Yes. But not for what he challenged it for. And again, went through that in the video last night. Got almost 60,000 views on the one with me wearing the referee's jersey. Move on from that. And if you want to talk about last night's, go watch that video. Because I talked about it. And yeah, there were no shots on the power play. And then at 8 minutes and 30 seconds, Necas gets the puck behind the net, throws it out to Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton with the perfect shot. I intentionally did not go to see any of the reaction from Bruins fans to that goal. Because seriously, Hamilton, top shelf, right under the bar. We've seen a lot of these goals. And the honest truth is, guys shoot it there. Because with the goalies as tall and as agile and as good as they are, that's pretty much the only spot you've got, is like a spot maybe this high, maybe this wide, right over the shoulder, right under the bar. That's it. Hamilton hit it. Perfect shot, and he's got to feel good about getting a goal against the Boston Bruins, who traded him to Calgary some years ago. So McAvoy takes a penalty. The Canes go to the power play. Bruins penalty kill, though, was fantastic on that one. They kept the puck in Carolina's end for, what, a minute and a half? So the Bruins pressured. The Canes were bending, not breaking. There's an empty net with 90 seconds left, much like last night where it was Carey Price that couldn't get out of the net, right? This one, Rask couldn't get out of the net because Carolina kept picking up the puck and kept bringing it out. So he tried to come out. I think it was like 2.5 minutes left. He was trying to come out. Couldn't get out till 90 seconds left. Looked good for the Canes. Reimer looking really good. They call a timeout with 42.7 seconds left. It was an icing. So Cassidy could have been forgiven for not calling a timeout because, Carolina's got some tired skaters on the ice, but he did. He called the timeout. And even though Reimer loses his stick in the last 10 seconds, Boston doesn't get the goal. And I was concerned about that too. I thought, oh my God, if they score, well, Reimer doesn't have a stick. So there you go. The series is tied. 3-2 victory for Carolina in regulation, which is important because the overtime thing is kind of and didn't happen in this one. So we're tied. We're gonna have a game 3 in a couple of days. We'll get to that. And I do enjoy this series. I do. I think this series has been great. I honestly, I would love for this series to go 7. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched, even though the shots would tell you they're not. Shots were 7-6 Carolina in the first, 14-10 Boston in the second, and in the third, 15-9 in favor of Boston. Final shots 35-26. Hits 43-35 in favor of Boston, so they outshot them and outhit them. Power plays, Carolina 1 for 3, Boston 2 for 3. The only power play they didn't score on was the one on the unsuccessful challenge, which I was happy about, which is just really bizarre. But again, for this video, for my sanity, I kind of breathed a sigh of relief when that one didn't end up being a power play goal, because I thought if they score here, and even I told my wife, and she said I was thinking the exact same thing. She was watching upstairs, and she said I was thinking the exact same thing. Your night's going to be really bad if they score there, and they didn't. Reimer, 33 saves on 35 shots, looked excellent. Absolutely great game by James Reimer. Nice to see that he's reclaimed himself after Florida ditched him last year. And Rask, 23 saves on 26 shots for Rask. We can have the conversation about Tuukka Rask at some point. The reactionary posts that I see very often when it comes to Bruin fans about Rask, you would think he was one of the worst goaltenders in the league if you just went based on that. But, it's the world we live in. And hey, I got to go watch the second period of Calgary and Dallas now. So let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's game in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I hope we can all still be friends. I will talk to you again soon.